So we must continue our coverage of the Demon Slayer movie and its absolute fucking dominance in the box office. This is crazy. Hang on, let me get this sized up so that you guys can see this here. We predicted it, we talked about it, but it is official. It's either official or it's like basically official here. Infinity Castle, Demon Slayer has outgrossed every single comic book movie this year. Holy shit. This includes Superman. This includes Fantastic Four. This includes Thunderbolts. And this includes Brave New World. Do you know what the cheapest movie out of that bunch was? It's the Thunderbolts. Do you know how expensive the Thunderbolts was? I think it was like $170. $170. Infinity Castle cost $30 million to make and market. It was probably less. My God. So the first question, and I'll offer this up to chat, and I think this is actually an interesting question. Would really love to know what you think. Is this more of an L for comic book movies, or is this more of a W for anime movies? What do you think? Is this a L for the Hollywoods, or is this a W for anime, chat? What do you think? Wow, a lot of people saying W. Yeah, a lot of people saying W. And some people saying yes. Some people saying both. Yeah, it is kind of like both, huh? Let's start with the embarrassment for Hollywood. This has got to be so fucking embarrassing, dude. Hollywood always consistently tries to figure out what its audience wants. It's in the business of giving its audience what it wants, entertaining its audience, okay? But somewhere along the line, over the past 10, maybe 15 years, they went a bad way with this, and they started making all these decisions, and basically, man, and I think this is really what it comes down to, is there's this whole big conversation of get woke, go broke, and everybody loves to bring this up. And everybody loves to fight on this battle line. And I totally understand it. I think it's an oversimplification to say that. But I think maybe we're all talking about a very similar thing. We have different ways of expressing it. We have different ways of saying it. But I think at the end of the day, Hollywood is letting its audience down. Isn't that the best way to say it? Can't we just admit that that is clearly what has happened? Maybe it's because of that stuff that you consider woke or whatever. But at the end of the day, Hollywood is letting its audience down. And I think a big thing that happened was Hollywood didn't understand fast enough and didn't appreciate enough how much damage they could do to not just any individual brand, franchise, or thing, but to the entire Hollywood space. Anti-Hollywood sentiment is so fucking crazy these days. It is so wild, bro. And I think there's a lot of different opinions. By the way, Hollywood really fucked up because there's actually across party lines hate for Hollywood. Have you ever heard of this thing called the horseshoe effect, where a lot of the people on the far right and the people on the far left are actually really, really similar? The horseshoe, if the horseshoe is real, in this sense, with Hollywood specifically, there's a lot of evidence to suggest that the horseshoe is real. You've got a whole bunch of people that are lefties or liberals or progressives that absolutely hate Hollywood and some of the propagandizing, some of the unfair treatment of its own workers, of workers around the world, of the way that it takes the side of, particular countries in certain big global conflicts. Whole bunch of people on the left fucking hate Hollywood. Whole bunch of people on the right that hate Hollywood as well. Consider it to be propaganda. It has this agenda. They're trying to, turn the frogs gay, all that kind of stuff, right? So Hollywood has almost in a unique way turned so many people against it. And I gotta be honest with you, I think there is something to be said here for how Hollywood probably never actually thought this would happen. Like, I bet Hollywood got to such a place that they could not even conceive of Hollywood itself not being the main distributor of culture via movies. Like, I'm actually being serious here. I literally think there were a whole bunch of people in that town over the past 10 years that kind of had the attitude of like, where the fuck are they gonna go? We're the only game in town. You know what I mean? And oh my God, they might have been way, way wrong. Bro, this is crazy to me. This is a fucking anime movie, dude. This is a fucking anime movie. And it made more than all the comic book movies. Dude, it's crazy. And you know what? The other thing I was thinking about, I want to show you this too, because I actually do think this has something to do with it. So this is a chart over here, and you got to see this, because like, dude, especially if you're a Marvel fan, like, holy shit. So look at this. This is the first 5 days of theatrical films revealed on a Wednesday on Disney Plus. Okay. Thunderbolts is the... Look at how bad fucking Thunderbolts did, dude. Look at how bad Thunderbolts did. Okay? And look at all the movies around Thunderbolts. You know, your Black Widow, your Marvels, Snow White. So wait a minute. Thunderbolts is doing Snow White numbers? Hold on. Thunderbolts is doing Snow White numbers. Houston, we have a fucking problem here. You know what I mean? Like, bro, this is crazy. And I mean, like, this is about half of what Multiverse of Madness did, about half of what Eternals did. It's about half of what Guardians 3 did. It's about a third of what Wakanda Forever did. It's a third of Elemental. It's a third of Moana 2. It's a third of Inside Out 2. Guys, I think Thunderbolts is like top 10 Marvel. It's fucking incredible. This is crazy, dude. This is fucking crazy, dude. So, look, the data point, okay, of this, and we saw, like, you know, we saw as we went throughout this year, all the different box offices, right? And remember, I lost the bet with Brandon Davis, and it's like, dude, I feel like I lost that bet twice, because maybe I thought Superman could win, but I thought Superman might win if it popped off for like 1.1 billion. And Fantastic Four was like stuck at 7 or 8. Guys, the beginning of this year, I did not realize it was going to be like this, you know? And you've got Brave New World kind of cooking around these same numbers. You got Fantastic Four cooking around the same numbers. Thunderbolts doing even worse. Thunderbolts might be the best of the bunch, and it did worse than all of them. And then you have fucking Infinity Saga, or the Infinity Castle movie, which cost $30 million to create and promote. Holy shit. Holy shit, dude. And I would suggest to you that a large part of why anime is doing so good is because it is not Hollywood, dude. I'm dead ass. And this is something Hollywood has to kind of grapple with, or not, because frankly, it's probably already over. You're probably fucking done. And we're just going to watch the actual effect of that over the next couple of years. This is fucking crazy, dude. What happens when we plug Crunchyroll into Nielsen? What happens when the Nielsen top 10 chart every week looks like half at least anime? Like, dude, holy shit. This is crazy. I really think things are changing in such a way that, like, we're seeing stuff like this doesn't even make sense, dude. Like, it's something that, like, again, you tell me this at the beginning of the year, I'd punch you in your nipple. Like, dead ass. It's like January 3rd. And you're like, hey, Josh, guess what? I think the Demon Slayer anime movie is going to make more than every comic book film this year. I would have punched you right in your nipple. I would have been like, are you fucking high? Ain't no way, fam. And this is where we're at. This is where we're at. We're having all this discussion about like Superman, Fantastic Four, and all this stuff. Brother, they spent $370 million on Superman. They got some of that back with residuals and with, you know, all this kind of finangoing. Dude, Infinity Castle was profitable at $60 million. It's just stacking cash, dude. It's just stacking cash. It's stacking cash, and the comic book movies are having to use Hollywood accounting to scrape out barely any profit. So what does the future of this look like? I got to tell you, I don't know, but I would take this as a sign, right? If I was like a Hollywood person, I would just take this as a sign to just see how damaged Hollywood itself is. And I'd probably start looking outside of Hollywood for the next revitalization. And by the way, this has happened in the past of Hollywood. This wouldn't be actually so crazy. So in the 70s, when you had all these awesome, like, bang out fucking awesome artistic directors, right? Like your Sidney Lumet or Lumet, you know, your George Lucas, your Spielberg, Coppola, all of these guys. What happens is the corporate owners of a lot of the studios, because the studios get sold to all the corporate owners need young talent that understands the movies, and they just go to these young people. And then you have this like revitalization. Hollywood should do that again. I think Hollywood should be seeking, like, get away from all of this dinosaur shit, and you need to start looking for people outside of your system, a whole bunch of talented storytellers and artists that are not inundated with this like California think, Hollywood think way of doing things. I really think this is the time. I think it's the time to fully abandon all of this shit. And I don't know, you know, I would argue too, like, because this is another thought that I had when going down this rabbit hole. RDJ's Doctor Doom, right? RDJ's Doctor Doom. You look at these numbers and you look at the chart with the Thunderbolts thing here, and just in general, look at how low all of this Phase 4 and Phase 5 stuff is, right? And I want you to imagine now, what would Doomsday be looking like if Robert Downey Jr. had not come back? Okay? Even if it was somebody else. Even if it was somebody else that you wanted. Like, let's say, fucking Oppenheimer homie, right? Let's say it was him, and he's Doctor Doom. Okay? Imagine what the hype for Doomsday would actually look like if it was really just dead ass all of these Marvel characters that are generating zero hype, getting nobody excited. They would be so fucked if Downey wasn't coming back. Downey represents all of this old cachet and nostalgic feelings and all of this association with when it was different and when it was much better. And that's why you pay him that money, right? And it just shows, like, dude, without that, oh my God, what are we looking at here? We're looking at Thunderbolts, Captain America, Brave New World, and oh my God. That's the actual cast of characters and everything here. So, look, I just think it's crazy. And at the end of the day, like, it's a W for Infinity Castle. And I do think that anime itself is going to be even more prominent. We just had that story of how Netflix is going to fast track the Demon Slayer movie, the live action version. And we'll see how that goes. But like what is next though? For Hollywood, are we just going to abandon all this shit and just go to anime, go to here, go to video game movie, this, that, second, and the third? Or like, is it a Hollywood problem? Does Hollywood need a big old front-facing branding change? And do you need to maybe go get some young mangakas? Do you need to go get some edgy, like imagine Matt Stone and Trey Parker when they were like just out of college or something, you know what I mean? Like you get some talent like that, and then they helped you to rebuild a studio's reputation. How a studio exists now in the internet age as we head forward. And with AI and everything like that, it's like, you know, it's just an interesting conversation. But look, dude, the main story is Infinity Castle did it. A lot of people thought it was impossible. I certainly would not have seen this coming earlier in the year. Infinity Castle makes more than any comic book movie, more than Superman, more than Fantastic Four. I mean, what does the future of Hollywood look like? I do not know. Chat, what are your thoughts on this? What do you think? Before we end this segment, what do you think's going on here? The oversaturation of Marvel is Marvel's problem. If they take a real break, they'll be fine. Okay, but then what's the explanation for Superman then? Right? Because like this definitely makes Superman look bad. So what's the explanation for Superman? You know? Warhammer is the future. Man, I got to tell you, I think the world needs Warhammer so badly. I think we need masculine, aura farming, high tea, crazy, savage science fiction that's brutal and just fun. It's just fun, dude. Like Abandoned Reason, it's just war and fun and hell yeah. Jalen says, this take will be mute in 2026-2027. Demon Slayer is one series. No other anime is pulling these numbers. Plus, it's the only way to digest the new Demon Slayer content. Oh, wow. Okay, that's an interesting take. I don't think so. Now, I will argue that Demon Slayer took some really smart strategy as far as kind of inundating their audience with the theatrical experience and building towards that. And I think it's been a very successful. But I don't think it's just that, man. I think some of these other anime did. Like, again, I think if you actually plugged Crunchyroll into Nielsen, which Nielsen should just do, I think you'd be shocked at how much anime is being consumed out there. Netflix itself has some crazy stats out there about it. Yep. Yeah, Warhammer needs to be more accessible to normies. Any updates on the Warhammer live action show? No updates since the last time we spoke about it. No. We'll see. Hopefully by the end of the year they can announce something. Yeah. You got to see how Chainsaw Man movie does next. I would be very interested to see how Chainsaw Man would do. Chainsaw Man's really cool. Normies barely know the difference between DC and MCU. They just see superhero fatigue. Sure. Superhero fatigue. Yeah, that's maybe it. Yeah. It's a phase and it won't last but a few years. What, anime? I don't know. I mean, look, things do ebb and flow, of course. And it could be like have a hot moment and then fizzle out for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Been saying this. The theaters are over. Streaming is the thing. Comic book movie fatigue. The economy sucks. People want something different. Horror is here. Anime is here. People want different. I think that's true. People want freshness. And I think anime is fresh. But I would also argue that like Hollywood itself has just done such a bad job of serving up freshness that it's made a bad association with a lot of what it does. Dragon Ball is anime goat, and look at those movies. Those movies are doing pretty well. Man. Especially that last one, Superhero, did pretty stinking well, yeah. Yeah. I'm all in on anime as of the last year. And while I miss Marvel, I have zero hope Disney will turn it around. Ooh, that's tough. Yeah, I mean, look, there's just a lot of reasons to doubt Disney, right? And look, the other day they said something about, so the Marvel Zombies thing just happened, right? I thought it was ass. I couldn't get past the first episode. And they just recently asked Elizabeth Olsen about it, and she's like, I don't even remember. I recorded my lines years ago. And look, that is the fucking truth of this thing, man, is that Marvel wants us to think that zombies is this new, cool, fresh thing. It's not. It came out of the philosophy of the studio that was there years ago, which was that they could do whatever they wanted, throw a Marvel logo on it, and people would eat it up. And that's just not true. And we're so fucking far past that. I cannot stand that version of Marvel. And zombies is that. That's what it is. So I can't with them anymore, man. Oh, really? Bro, she is lying? You think so? No, she recorded those years ago, dude. 100%, dude. What a weird thing to say. She's lying. Why would you lie about that? Man, Olsen stays shitting on her employers. She's been a little vocal with it. Yeah. Yeah, she's been a little vocal. Yeah. Overall, it's been a great year for movies. Really great movies out this year. Okay, Ben. Okay, Ben. Not an anime fan. I saw Infinity Castle because of FOMO. I thought it was a Temu animation and story. Hey, you don't say that to me, Andrew. Also, I guess you're allowed to have your opinion, but your opinion sucks. Anime is too much of a niche to warrant all of this conversation. Wow. I think you're in for a rude awakening, man. I think that is completely false. I think that's such a silly take. I think there's a lot of evidence to the counter. Like my man's sitting here in his thing, and he's like, it literally made more than all the comic book movies this year. And he's like, this is too niche. It's too niche for this kind of convo. Stop wasting your breath on a movie that made more than all the other comic book movies. You're wasting your breath, Josh. Holy shit. Oh, you guys. Chat. You guys. Oh, chat. Oh, chat. Oh, chat. Oh, fucking chat. Ah!